Opening scene, a darkened room filled with shelves of old firearms and blueprints. The camera zooms in on a particular blueprint with faded ink showing an unusual design. Voiceover begins. Did you know there once existed a gun that could fire without making a sound? In the world of firearms, nothing captures the imagination more than technological breakthroughs that bend the rules of reality. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you back in time to uncover the remarkable true story of the Soundless Gun, a weapon so unique, so baffling, it was almost forgotten. Transition to archival video clips of inventors and old workshops. A text overlay reads, "The year 1922. Voiceover. Our story begins a century ago in the early 1920s. Engineering minds were racing to craft cutting-edge weaponry for the modern battlefield. Gun designers faced one major challenge: the loud, unmistakable sound of a gunshot. The sound was not only a giveaway for soldiers in enemy territory, but it also revealed the shooter's location. What if, asked one brilliant inventor, a gun could shoot without the deafening bang? Cut to a sketch of Richard J. Gatling, the modern-day descendant of the famous Gatling family. Text overlay reads, Richard Gatling Directorio, Weapons Innovator. Voiceover. Enter Richard J. Gatling, a descendant of the iconic Gatling family who gave us the Gatling gun. But while Richard shared the same surname as his illustrious ancestors, his goals were vastly different. He wasn't interested in just unleashing more firepower. He wanted stealth. Cut to a close-up shot of the design blueprint for the silent displacement chamber mechanism. Voiceover. In 1922, Richard began designing what he called the silent displacement chamber mechanism, a groundbreaking concept. Rather than using traditional gunpowder, he devised a spherical, compressed system that mitigated recoil and then expelled the projectile with air propulsion. Yes, you heard that right. This gun didn't require gunpowder at all. Let's pause for a moment to let that sink in. A gun, firing without even a hint of combustion. Background becomes an animated cutaway of the silent displacement chamber mechanism, explaining its inner workings. Air propulsion is depicted. Voiceover. The mechanism's inner workings were ingenious. Tiny pressurized containers stored inert gas, specifically designed to release through highly controlled nozzles. The gas would build momentum to launch a custom-designed projectile that mimicked the shape of early bullets. A shot was not only deadly but eerily quiet, an invention ahead of its time. Music becomes dramatic and the screen shows patents and technical details. Voiceover. Richard patented this revolutionary idea. Lee Haven Armory became the sole manufacturer contracted to produce prototypes. Reports from early tests showed astounding results. Near-silent shooting, zero muzzle flash, and deadly accuracy within 50 yards. Perfect for espionage or covert military operations. Superimposed text. Prototype. Model R Silence R1. But here's the twist. Despite its promise, the silent displacement mechanism quickly faced hurdles. And not just technical ones, but political too. You see, rumors began to swirl that a weapon like this, silent and undetectable, posed existential questions to the codes of warfare. Archival footage of journalists, military hearings, and blacklisted weapons projects plays against the background. Voiceover. Diplomats labeled it a villain's weapon. Politicians were uneasy. Some feared that guns like these would end up in the hands of assassins or used in clandestine operations that blurred the lines of ethical warfare. Law enforcement agencies even described them as a danger to civil society. And remember, this was the Prohibition era, a time rife with organized crime. Image transitions to newspaper depicting a grainy photo of an early prototype. Voiceover. The Soundless Gun's growing reputation as a possible weapon of shadowy intrigue made it dangerous to even discuss. Under political pressure, the United States military rejected further investment into Gatling's complex prototypes, citing complications in durability and cost. Cut to a dramatized auction scene where the prototype is being sold off quietly. Voiceover. But that isn't where the story ends. After being dismissed by the military, Lee Haven Armory ceased mass production. Yet against all odds, several physical prototypes survived. Although shrouded in secrecy, families in southern Illinois claimed to have stumbled upon surviving R-Silence R1 models. Background switch to 1950s interviews conducted decades after Richard's death. Voiceover. By the mid-century, conspiracy theorists latched on to this weapon's phantom existence. UFOs, espionage, and secret societies were suddenly linked to its use, even if only by rumor. But here's the kicker. An updated version of this technology might sound suspiciously familiar today. Yes, the architecture of modern silencing gadgets owes its ancestry to Gatling's daring concept. Show sleek, contemporary firearms featuring modern suppressors. Believe it or not, today's most futuristic suppressor systems incorporate aerodynamics. Gatling first conceptualized back in 1922. His silent gun, though never perfected, ignited the idea to weaponize pressurized gas with unmatched stealth. Fade into investigation files surrounding lost prototypes with mysterious redacted paragraphs. Voiceover gets ominous. And as the legend grows, some say surviving prototypes of the silent displacement gun are locked away as national secrets. Others insist influential collectors stash them in private vaults where their exact location remains unknown. Closing sequence. Camera pans out to reveal narrator seated next to an empty pedestal labeled R-Silence 1922 Prototype. Voiceover. Closing. So, what happened to these silent guns that defied everything we know about firearms? Were they ahead of their time, or were they just too risky to keep around? History is often full of cutting-edge ideas swept under the rug. And yet, one can't help but wonder, could the silent gun make a comeback? Fade to black as the text appears, the mystery of the soundless gun.